Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Emily or La Movie Mija. I'm a part-time filmmaker, full-time movie lover, and today we're going to be talking about the 2024 film Twisters. I just wanted to take a moment to give a huge heartfelt thank you to all of my new subscribers. For anyone who's engaged with my content, I really appreciate you taking the time to spend a little bit of time with me. There's a lot of movie reviewers out there, a lot of different flavors for a lot of different folks. So if something I say just happens to resonate with you or the way that I say it resonates with you, that means a whole lot to me. So thank you so much for engaging with my channel. Whether you found me on TikTok, Letterboxd, or Instagram, I am at Movie Mija on all the things. If there's a movie logged on my Letterboxd that you want me to speak on here on YouTube, let me know in the comments below. Or if there's a movie in general that you want to hear my thoughts on, let me know and I would be more than happy to review it for you. With that said, it can be scary putting your thoughts and opinions out there on the internet, but like they say in this movie, you don't face your fears, you ride them. Let's get into Twisters. Before I get to the review, I want to set the scene for how we should talk about this movie or think about it. When I first heard about Twisters, my interest was piqued. I am a fan of the OG 1996 blockbuster hit Twister, just one. Helen Hunt and Bill Paxton just did it for me. And that flying cow is iconic. So when this was announced, I was sat and curious, would this be a direct sequel? Would it be a reboot? It's actually neither. Okay, I promise I won't wear this the whole time. According to Wikipedia, this is a standalone sequel. I beg your pardon. Basically, that means it takes place in the same universe as Twister, but has no other connection to the original film. So, do you need to watch Twister to prepare for Twisters? Apparently not. Revisiting the OG film won't help inform you of the characters. It won't help set you up for any of the continuity because they don't have much to do with one another. They just both exist in a world where there are tornadoes, like this one. If that's the extent of the logic we're using for this is the shared universe, then there's a lot of movies that exist in this universe. But I must personally insist that you do watch the 1996 film. At my showing of Twisters, there was actually a Q&A that followed with the director Lee Isaac Chung. He is most known for his award-winning film Minari, a beautiful character-driven story that I personally loved. And Chung joins a group of select directors who go on the critically acclaimed indie film to big budget blockbuster pipeline. To give you a sense of what that looks like in numbers, Minari was made on a budget of $2 million. And Twisters had a budget of $200 million. This has become like a yellow flag for me because it has yielded very mixed results, like in the instances when Marvel has done this. But in the case of Twisters, I think that bringing Lee Isaac Chung on as a director really elevated what could have been a soulless corporate cash grab. With that said, there are some things that really worked for me in this film and some things that ultimately felt underbaked. Standalone film or not, I cannot help but compare this film to its predecessor. Because if you are taking an existing IP, revamping it, relying on the loyalty of its built-in audience to make this film a financial success, then it's only fair that we get to subject this film to comparisons to the original. Let me know if you agree with that or not. Here's the synopsis. Haunted by a devastating encounter with the tornado, Kate gets lured back to the open plains by her friend Javi to test a groundbreaking new tracking system. She soon crosses paths with Tyler Owens, a charming but reckless social media superstar who thrives on posting his storm-chasing adventures. As storm season intensifies, Kate, Tyler, and their competing teams find themselves in a fight for their lives as multiple systems converge over central Oklahoma. The film stars Daisy Edgar Jones, Glen, Powell, Anthony Ramos, and Maura Tierney. The film is a disaster action thriller with a side order of romance. So what did I think of this movie? The film is at its strongest when we can clearly see the instincts of its director shine. This comes in the form of grounded characters, lush cinematography, and making the location come to life. The opening scene of this film is pretty badass, and it employs all of those great instincts from Chung that I just mentioned. It is a terrifying departure in tone, an exhilarating and bold opening statement, and probably the part of the movie that delivers the most on its promise: bad weather and big feelings. It really took me by surprise, and I cannot wait to see more of your reactions to this opening scene. Another achievement of this film that is not to be overlooked is that it was shot on film and on location. What that communicates to me is that this was a true labor of love. Because this film is so sky and atmosphere dependent, having it shot in a place where the weather is so unpredictable is a choice. And the payoff is huge. It really does a lot to make the Oklahoma that we see on the big screen that much more impressive and luminous, luring us into the suck zone like moths to a flame. I wish I saw this film on IMAX. Those big, beautiful, and sometimes terrifying skies deserve to be witnessed in in the largest format possible. The soundtrack is also really fun. There's a wide variety of country artists represented, and there's some poignant needle drops that are just a lot of fun, and I thought it was really rad to see contemporary country music highlighted on the big screen. The only thing bigger than the track list of the soundtrack is the cast of this movie. Keeping in the tradition of having competing storm chasing teams, Twisters features two camps of teams that have very different approaches to storm chasing. The team that's led by Anthony Ramos is a lot more buttoned up. They have these ominous corporate backers, and they are all highly decorated academics in meteorology and physics, including Superman actor-to-be David Cornsweet. Then you have the Tornado Wranglers, led by Glen Powell and his 10-gallon hat of charisma. This crew was so enjoyable to watch. Brandon Perea and Katie O'Brien are only two of the members, and they're more like ragtag, homegrown storm chasers who are not at all intimidated by the institutionalized knowledge from the other team. The moments we get with the ensemble are a whole lot of fun. They have a lot of great chemistry with one another, but we just don't get enough time with them or get to know their little antics and quirks. So even though while watching the film I had a lot of time with them, they're kind of forgettable after the fact. Unfortunately, that brings me to some of the things that didn't work as well. Sad hat. What I found challenging in this film is that our main protagonist, Kate, is an unwilling participant in the storm chasing antics. And that's not her fault. It's completely understandable why she doesn't want to be there. She has some heavy storm-related trauma and grief that she has to work through. But since she's so disinterested in being the hero of the story, as a viewer, I found myself just wanting to spend more time with the storm chasing teams. My issue with that is that if she is meant to be our proxy into the storm chaser culture and world, I either wish her character arc was fulfilled sooner or with greater thematic payoff, because instead of giving us the satisfying hero's journey, we end up exploring a romance that feels so shoehorned and out of left field, and unfortunately the disaster of the execution of that love story is something that I could spot from 100 miles away, unlike the storm chasers. Okay, but I'm only human. I do enjoy the time that we get with Daisy's Kay and Glen's Tyler, but their romantic arc just doesn't feel earned. And it didn't fit into the larger narrative. It just feels so removed from the rest of the plot. Almost like some executive was like, we need them to get together. We need pretty girl and hot man together. And I just think it stole too much screen time from the other characters. Speaking of hot people doing crazy stunts, this film does take a huge cue from the Fast and the Furious franchise, in that with this entry, it is way more removed from reality than the film that came before it. Our protagonist Kate's weather interpreting skills are presented to us more like she has a sixth sense, like she has a tornado spidey sense. And it feels so disjointed from the realism of the rest of the film. I know, I'm saying realism in a film where there's like tornadoes one after the other chasing these people as they're chasing them back. And that departure from the tone of the rest of the movie has Kate feeling more like the one. And her weather expertise just turns into this fabulous gown of plot armor. And the superhero comparisons don't end there. The final act feels so Fast and the Furious-esque. I won't give anything away. I won't. But when it happens, you'll be like, did they just do that? All in all, my impression of this film is similar to the aftermath of those tornadoes. Just like a mixed bag of things that could have been or once were, but are no longer. In the end, Twisters is a thin reimagining of the original film. And while it is fun to indulge in the moment, I did enjoy my time in the movie theater, don't get me wrong. It's a perfectly enjoyable summer blockbuster. It left me wishing for more. More, please. I wanted more time with the passionate storm chasers. I wanted to better understand their motives and what drives them to a life of storm chasing, and a little bit more of thematic overlap between the romance and the overall plot about these competing storm chasing teams. I gotta say that I think that in the future, when I am hankering a craving for some tornado related romance, I'll still be reaching for the 1996 classic. Let me know if you plan on watching Twisters this weekend. I can't wait to read your responses about that opening scene. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you later. Bye.